What's up, my friend? Welcome to this video. Today's a cool day, all right? Fable 5 has just been dropped from Claude literally a few hours ago, and in today's video I want to see if it is any better at creating websites than Opus is or Codex is. So the idea of today's video is pretty straightforward. We're going to go through 6 different levels of varying degrees of complexity to see how far we can actually push Fable 5 and see if it is worth the hype. Because frankly, over the last few months I am being completely immune to new AI drops. Opus 4.1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, I've completely lost count. And frankly, AI drops are now not that dissimilar to flipping new iPhone models. But today I think something is different. There's been a lot of hype built over the last few months around this idea of Mythos from Claude. Now, I just think it's a big marketing ploy, but they said that Fable 5 is built off the back of Mythos, which is meant to be one of the craziest, most advanced AI models of all time. Let's see if it's going to be worth it for us as business owners and entrepreneurs, and see if we can actually start creating useful, beautiful website designs and digital experiences for our clients. Okay, so we got 6 different levels here of varying degrees of complexity. First is a clean premium landing page. Then we're going to see how far it can get into brand direction. Then we're going to go into more sort of advanced workflows over here. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is just drop my first 3 prompts into Claude, and we're going to send it. Guys, I'm going to be burning all of my flipping Claude credits for you so you don't have to. All right, okay, let's just get a split view going. All right, you can see that even on level 1, 2, and 3, we're going up in degrees of complexity. So for level 2 specifically, we're talking about a clear visual identity and actually getting it to create a bit more of a brand. For level 3, we're then getting into a bit more animated feel, animated backgrounds, etc., etc. Now, bear in mind, the purposes of this test, I want to see if Fable 5 actually has a sense of taste. That's why I'm not giving it any reference images. I'm not actually guiding it too far, rather than just using a prompt to see how close we can get to a one-shot kill. So let's let Claude work and let's see what it comes back with. All right, guys, so our different chats are now finished. So you'll see level 1 took approximately 2 minutes, level 2 took approximately 3 minutes, and level 3 took approximately 3 to 4 minutes. Okay, so let's go ahead and review these. Now, what I will show you here is that we're using Fable 5, and each of these are on effort medium. All right, so we're not going crazy all the way down here to ultra code, just because I think that would be flipping overkill. Now, you've seen the meme of the guy with the flamethrower trying to light his flipping cigar. That's how I feel using Fable 5 to design really basic landing pages. All right, so here are our 3 previews. Okay, so number 1, this is level 1, guys. Pretty straightforward. It's used arguably the worst stock image of all time, which could be a meme in itself. But let's just try and focus on the design here. Okay, so the eyebrow, the H1, the subheader, we've got this sort of, rating over here. I think, looks clean, doesn't look offensive in any way, shape or form. Again, crappy choice of stock image, but again, that's easily fixable. I think it's worked. The typography, pretty straightforward. Everything looks relatively clean. Again, if one of my beginner clients sent me this to review, I would be like, you know what? Ship it. Let's go. No problem. All right. But arguably, there's probably nothing different between what Fable 5 has done here and what Opus 4.8 could do or Codex could do. So, fine. No problem. So let's check out level 2. All right. So level 2 is looking pretty clean. I kind of like this. Still got our crappy meme stock footage image over there, but I think the way that this is structured ultimately looks pretty damn good. All right. So again, we've got nice typography treatment here. I actually quite like how it's chosen to highlight a few of these different sections. And as we move into this sequence as well, the image overlay there as well, it's just completely decided to add that on its own accord, which I think is really quite cool. And then we got this nice black background, some frame of motion over here in regards to the weeks. The typography feels really clean and actually much better than Opus. I don't know what you guys think. Let me know in the comments below on what you think, but I feel like just from a legibility standpoint and typography standpoint, it feels very clean and like it's understood the assignment kind of perfectly. So testimonials, nice. Sort of nice background here. And usually what I'm used to from an AI design perspective is that, when we treat these backgrounds, usually stuff's hanging off the side, but it's gone in and created all of this on its own accord, hours, contact, etc., etc., just from one prompt. All right. So that's a one-shot kill and I'm pretty impressed with that. Okay, so before we check out mobile, let's go ahead and check out level 3. Okay, so level 3 looks interesting. Okay, so we've got our background animation with these little sort of shooting star things. You know, this is obviously just a placeholder, but you can see it sort of hovering quite nicely. You know, this is not working correctly, so that's broken. Placeholder for an image here. But I think, you know, there's little signs of hope in the sense that the typography does look clean and well treated. You know, so we got our nice sort of hover animations over here, which I think looks pretty cool. You know, this is also a little bit wonky. I think this is probably trying a little bit too hard. But I think, you know, from what we've got here, just again, from one prompt into a working, you know, sort of baseline MVP, I'm pretty impressed. All right. So what I want to do now is just quickly check mobile and see how it's ultimately handled that. Okay. So you can see mobile optimized. Yeah, looking kind of good. Obviously that needs cleaning. This ticker is just broken. But from a mobile perspective, obviously I'd need to, you know, test this on my actual phone. I think it's looking pretty good, guys, unless I'm flipping hallucinating here. You know, it's done a good job. Obviously minimal input from copy, positioning, etc. But I think we're in a good position. You know, sort of same for this. I think mobile actually looks pretty damn good. It's ultimately tweaked that, adjusted that specifically for mobile. Guys, and I have literally not prompted it again. This is literally out of the box prompt direct into functional landing page and website, you know, which I'm pretty impressed with. Again, let's check out our meme lady over here. You know, again, this is something completely shippable, and literally this site in particular, this landing page took 2 minutes to create. Okay, 2 minutes, guys. What the hell? So I think, you know, initial tests, pretty good, but I think it's time to turn the heat up a little bit, because ultimately these designs are things that I'm pretty desensitized to now. I'm pretty sure Opus would be able to do the same. But what I want to do now is go into our more advanced prompts. So I'm going to tee that up. I'm going to set them off and let's see what it comes back with. Okay, so we're just going to take our level 4, 5, and 6 prompts and drop them into the chats over here, get them working. And ultimately, this is going to be the real test. I think everything we've given it so far has been pretty damn easy. So let's get those sending. Let's get split view going so we can see them in tandem. All right, so let's just take a look at these prompts for a second. Okay, so you can see they just get more complex in order. So we've got create a futuristic premium website aesthetic with an animated 3D JavaScript background. All right, so we're getting Claude to actually create its own 3D background with no reference whatsoever. The 5th level of complexity is a calm, grounded yoga vibe, organic type feel where the user scrolls through. And really what I wanted to do with this prompt is create some immersive vibes going on where someone scrolls and we're actually going into the 3D object. And then level 6 is ultimately our wildcard design, which does have a scroll-based animation, but using 3D. So really this is pushing the boat out. And ultimately this would cost one heck of a lot of money to ultimately do. And I've tried to do this with Opus before and it took hours and hours and hours of production. So I'm hoping we get close to a one-shot kill. So let's let Claude work, see how long it takes. We'll come back to it and see what the result is. All right, guys, so we've got our 3 designs back. Now these designs took between 10 and 25 minutes. Level 6 took about 25 minutes to create, and that's literally on the medium thinking mode. So I'd hate to think how long max effort would ultimately take, but you know, we've got our designs ultimately ready. So let's take a look at what these are showing up as. So here is level 4. All right, so we've got our 3D object, which is created. So it's triggered and affected by our mouse hover, which is kind of cool. As I scroll down, it gets smaller and there's a bit of a parallax effect. We've got highlighted frosted glass look and feel. It's created some random dashboard, you know, obviously without any context. You know, it's gone ahead and created that as well. And then, you know, the rest of the thing looks pretty clean. I like the way it's taken like a very clean accent color. It's not overdone it. There's not too many different type sizes as well, which I think I've noticed Fable 5 doing pretty well. What I've noticed in a lot of AI websites is that it likes to pack it with loads of different type sizes and type styles and too many italics. So a lot of my time when designing AI websites is trying to bang bad practices out of it from a typography standpoint. But I feel like this looks very clean, respectable, and something that, you know, would not look out of place on Framer's flippin' gallery website. Okay, so I like how that's looking. I think it's executed this incredibly well. And the fact that it's created this on its own is really cool. All right, you know, you would have to have a subscription to something like Spline, which, you know, you would have to go out and spend some time creating your own 3D object, which has now just been done in one prompt in 10 minutes. All right, so let's check out level 5. Holy crap. I feel like I've just landed in a Dubai boutique spa, you know, with all the gold leaf vibes to it. But ultimately, it's pretty ethereal. Like, it feels like maybe, you know, this is a transition into some sort of new dimension. But what we wanted to do here is create that immersive look and feel and, you know, sort of scroll-based effect, which I feel like it's executed incredibly well without any copy and without any reference. It's just done the job. All right, so I like the way it brings in the testimonials there, and you know, it feels buttery smooth. So I've tried to do this design before where we used a video that we created from Higgsfield in the background, which was laggy as hell. It didn't have a nice smooth effect to it, no matter how fast I want to do it, because it's created this 3D effect and it's using three.js, okay, which is really, really cool. So, you know, whether you hate this or love this, you know, it's done a pretty damn good job from a one-shot prompt. All right, so let's now check out the main event, which is level 6. Okay, so I'm excited for this one. All right, so here we are, level 6. Okay, so interesting scroll-based trigger on the animations there. The background moves is immersive. Okay, this is locked in. This is all triggered by scrolling at the moment. So you can see we got the phases, we got this nice 3D object coming in from the background, which is interesting. So that's cool. This panel triggered animation, different zones, background still moving smoothly, and we're rock and rolling. All right, so guys, level 6 executed, I must say, to perfection. Now, obviously, there are things that we can do to get this more production ready. But guys, this really took 20 minutes to build, one prompt, and we're rock and rolling, right? Remember, this took me hours to try and replicate using Opus. All right, so there has been a marked improvement in the model, and now I can confirm it. It's not just hype. All right, so I'm actually really impressed with how this is looking and how this has come across, because I'm so used to having to go through tweak, typography, fix broken things. And to me, this feels buttery smooth. All right, so I feel like I'm, you know, flying through flipping space right now. Okay. So obviously this is completely conceptual. You know, the copy is just, you know, been made up. But realistically, for an AI model to be able to do this really just puts us on a new trajectory for what is possible in the digital realm from a creation standpoint, from creating immersive experiences for our clients, for selling website design and funnels, and creating immersive experiences using, you know, code. So, you know, it's taken it, understood the assignment, and executed. Now, before I speak too soon, let's check out mobile, because I know a lot of you really, really do care about it. Rightly so. Okay, so from a mobile perspective, stacking, smoothness, obviously it's only really going to, you know, be told once we test this on mobile, but, you know, from a locking viewpoint perspective, frosted glass, cleanness of design, animation, you know, I think we're looking pretty good. Okay, here's our other immersive vibe, mobile optimized, working pretty fine. And here's our other one, you know, level 4 mobile optimized. All right, so guys, you know, that's what we've done. We've tested 6 different websites, 6 different levels of complexity, and we ain't even had breakfast yet, my friends. So that's today's demonstration. I do believe that Fable is potentially overkill when it comes to simplistic website designs. Probably going to cost too many credits. Probably is not worth your time if you are creating simple designs like level 1, 2, and 3. But if you're creating custom designs, 3D immersive experiences for clients that are paying you thousands of dollars, then ultimately it's worth it. All right. You can just see how much time it saved me. Now, where does this all go when website design becomes completely democratized? Like I've just proven it. With the right prompt, you can create literally anything. Now, I've had a lot of people say to me, Luke, what makes a 10K website? What makes a 20K website? Is it just design? The answer, simply put, is no. It is not just design. What people pay 10,000 plus for in regards to digital websites and designs like this is ultimately the result that you're selling them. So I don't care what a website looks like. If it doesn't perform and get you to the goal that you're looking to go to, it's frankly useless. It's just another digital brochure. So the real moat now, when more websites, more funnels, more landing pages are going to be created on a daily basis because we now have access to tools like this, comes down to your ability to ultimately market the thing and position your brand or your client's brand in a way where you get out of the commodity trap. Because now that website design is democratized, it is going to be a race to the bottom. People are going to be charging less and less and less for websites, which means you need to upskill yourself and actually stop charging for websites on their own and start charging for the outcome that you're delivering. Because that is what people pay 10,000, 20,000 for. And an immersive website could be part of that stack. It could be a tool that you use to get yourself or your clients to the outcome that they're looking to achieve. So what you've got to understand is that it comes down to marketing, brand positioning, uniqueness, because ultimately this industry is rife for disruption. Things are changing rapidly right now. So if you want to get access to all of the prompts shown in this demonstration, if you want to build an AI native business, if you want to start with building a digital home, which ultimately takes immersive landing pages and websites and pulls it into one ecosystem that you control, you own, and ultimately puts you on the path to building an autonomous AI native business, then my friend, check out the link in the description. You can join our school community and hundreds of others that are building towards digital sovereignty. And what we're really focusing on now in the coming months is how to market yourself and position yourself in a way so you can start charging higher prices for what you're doing. You just have to learn the skills needed to position yourself in the way that makes you someone who is impossible to ignore. So my friend, I'll see you on the next one.